Hello everyone. Today we are going to talk about social stratification in The Great Gatsby. In this part of the novel, Fitzgerald not only introduces the characters, but also represents a society that is clearly divided into social classes. Social stratification, which is the separation of people based on wealth, status, and power, is already very visible from the beginning. One of the clearest examples is the contrast between East Egg and West Egg. East Egg represents old money, families who have been rich for generations and who have social prestige. West Egg represents new money, people who recently became rich but are not fully accepted by the elite. This shows a strong idea. Having money is not enough to belong to the highest class. People from East Egg see themselves as superior because of their history and status, not only just their wealth. A key character that represents this is Tom Buchanan. Tom is part of the old money class and shows clear signs of arrogance and superiority. He believes that he is better than others and expresses discriminatory ideas. This is important because it reveals that inequality is not only economic, it is also supported by beliefs. People like Tom maintain social stratification by thinking that their positions is natural and deserved. Now, my partner is going to explain how these social differences affect relationships and the idea of the American dream.
Gatsby represents the American dream, the idea that anyone can achieve success through hard work. He starts with nothing and becomes incredibly rich, but his story also reveals the limits of that dream. Even after achieving wealth, he cannot fully escape his past or enter the world of old money. In the end, his dream fails, showing that social mobility is much more restricted than it seems. Beyond these wealthy groups, the novel also presents a lower class, represented by the Valley of Ashes. This is a poor industrial area where characters like George and Myrtle Wilson live. Their lives are difficult and they have very few opportunities. To improve their situation, the Valley of Ashes symbolizes the reality hidden behind the luxury of the rich, a world of poverty and struggle that supports the wealth of others. Myrtle, in particular, tries to escape her social position by having an affair with Tom Buchanan. She believes that these relationships will allow her to rise in status. However, Tom never truly respects her, and she is ultimately treated as disposable. Her tragic fate highlights how difficult and dangerous it is to try to move between social classes. I'm going to explain the social stratification portrayed in The Great Gatsby and how this novel reveals a deeply divided society where wealth determines not only lifestyle but also identify power and opportunity. At the center of the story, we find a clear division between what is known as old money and new money. Old money refers to families who have inherited their wealth over generations, and this group is represented by Tom and Daisy Buchanan. They live in East Egg, a place that symbolizes tradition, prestige, and social stability. However, their wealth also gives them a sense of superiority. They believe they are naturally above others, and this is reflected in their careless and often cruel behavior. In contrast, we have the new money, represented by Jay Gatsby. Gatsby is extremely wealthy, but his fortune is recent. He lives in West Egg, where everything is more extravagant and showy. Gatsby throws luxurious parties and owns a magnificent mansion, all in effort to be accepted into the same social circle as Daisy, However, despite his wealth, he is never truly accepted by the old money elite. This shows that money alone is not enough to change one's social status.